So, Home Alone is one of the most popular holiday movies ever. But some people might not know this, but there are 6 total Home Alone movies. That's right. There's Home Alone, the original, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, Home Alone 3, Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House, Home Alone, the Holiday Heist, and Home Sweet Home Alone. I'm sure most of those you haven't even heard of. Anyway, today I'm going to be ranking every single Home Alone movie ever. Just the movies. I know there's like video games and books and stuff. We're just ranking the movies because, to be honest, that's all that really counts, the movies. Well, only the first 2. Three's okay, whatever. Anyway, we'll get to that. There's really nothing else to say. Let's start off with the first Home Alone from 1990. Sorry, that was the wrong one. Also, I just want to say, before we start, once again, a lot of spoilers coming up. So if you haven't seen any of the Home Alone movies, well, I'm about to spoil them all. So anyway, let's go. So, Home Alone 1 starts out at the McAllister's house. And, the family's about to go on vacation, so everyone's, rushing around because it's the night before their vacation. And then there's this, okay, I'm sorry, I don't know why it's so blurry. So it's the night before their vacation, everyone's rushing around and stuff, and there's this officer guy, and just standing there, and he wants to talk to somebody, but everyone's just ignoring him. And I'm just gonna say it now, he's not an officer. Anyway, then we meet the little the little star of the movie, Kevin. And Kevin's mad because Uncle Frank, who is his uncle because his name is Uncle Frank, won't let him watch a movie or something, so he's throwing a tantrum. But his mom is on the phone, so she's just ignoring him, and his dad's too busy doing, dad stuff. Anyway, Kevin needs help packing his suitcase because he's like 8 and he doesn't know how to, but all of his siblings are just jerk-offs and don't want to help him. Then we meet the biggest jerk-off of the movie is Buzz. Well, actually, maybe the third jerk-off. Forgot about these guys. Anyway, there's this guy living across the street, and apparently he's Old Man Marley, and I guess he killed people with his shovel, but he didn't get arrested because there wasn't enough evidence. Obviously, this isn't true. Anyway, then they all are eating pizza, and Kevin's jerk-off brother eats his pizza, so Kevin gets mad and karate chops him. Anyway, and since Kevin is he gets sent up to his room, the attic, and he wishes that his whole family will disappear. Don't worry, Kevin, I feel like that sometimes too. Anyway, that night there's a storm and it knocks the power out. So when the family wakes up, they think they're all late, so they start running around the house and freaking out, just like last night. But while they're packing up, the kid across the street, the Murphy's kid, starts distracting them and they mistake him for Kevin. So while they're counting everybody, he gets counted as Kevin, even though Kevin's still up in the attic. So when they all leave for the airport, Kevin comes out of the attic and, surprise, surprise, nobody's home. Anyway, once he realizes this, he just starts, going crazy. Look at him. He looks like he's having a blast. Man, I wish I could do that. Anyway, then he's eating ice cream and watches the movie that Uncle Frank wouldn't let him watch him, and we can see why. This movie is very, very, very graphic. Anyway, so then Kevin's mom realizes that she forgot Kevin because, I don't know what to say, she forgot him. Then we meet Harry and Marv. Well, actually, we just meet Marv because that's right. Harry was the guy dressed as the police officer earlier. So it turns out he was dressing up as a police officer and going to houses, to see if they were going to be leaving so that him and his friend Marv could rob it. Pretty smart if you ask me. And, oh my god, I just got an F. Anyway, so then Kevin's mom gets to the airport to try to call the police, but they're not much help. So Kevin's dad and all of his siblings and whatever decide to leave so his mom can stay at the airport and be a Karen. Anyway, then Kevin goes to the store and steals a toothbrush, and then almost gets ran over by Harry and Marv's van. Too bad he didn't. Then Harry smiles at him, and Kevin recognizes his gold tooth from earlier when he smiled at him as a police officer. So then these two weirdos start following him. And they're saying he's acting weird because he's running. I mean, obviously he's running. There's two creepy guys in a van following him. Anyway, Kevin manages to scare them off. And he also scares off the pizza guy. And then he scares off Marv, too. Anyway, back at the airport, Kevin's mom meets this guy, Gus, who is actually John Candy. Anyway, so she meets him, and then he ends up being a big help to take her home to Kevin. Then Harry and Marv realize that Kevin's alone, so they decide to come back that night at 9 p.m. so they can, kill Kevin or something. Then Kevin tells this Santa Claus smoking a cigarette that all he wants for Christmas is his family back. He even says he wants Uncle Frank. That's sweet. Then he goes to church and he runs into Old Man Marley, the serial killer, but it turns out he's actually a nice guy. And then we get the most infamous part of the movie. Kevin goes home and somehow makes this big paper with his battle plan on it. I don't know how he did it that fast, because setting up all the stuff at least would take an hour, so I don't know. Anyway, Kevin turns in the jigsaw and starts setting up all these traps. So then when Harry and Marv come back, we get to watch these guys get beat up for 13 minutes. Anyway, they eventually do catch him, and Harry tries to bite his fingers off, but Old Man Marley comes to save the day and murders them with a snow shovel. Maybe he really is a murderer. But no, because they're not dead, obviously. And then they get put in the cop car, and one of the officers just absolutely abuses Harry. But anyway, yeah, so now they're arrested. Happy ending? Yup, because Kevin's family eventually gets home to the poor guy, and they all live happily ever after. The end. Now, I know I'm going to sound like a lot of people who say... Okay, come on, focus, camera. Camera, please. Alright. Now, I know I'm going to sound like a lot of people who say this, but there's nothing I can say about this movie that hasn't already been said by a lot of people. Home Alone 1 is a great movie, it's probably one of the best, probably one of my favorite movies, so obviously we're going to take this up and put it in S tier, because, it's well-deserved. And actually, they didn't live happily ever after, they did in that movie, but now we got to move on to Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Okay, for this next one, I'm sorry if the quality's bad, but the only version of the full movie I could find was in Portuguese, so sorry if the quality's bad. So here we go, Home Alone 2. This movie was made 2 years later, but it's supposed to be taking place 1 year later. Anyway, it starts off pretty much like the first one with the family rushing around, because it's the night before their vacation, again, because it went so well last time. But this time there's no officer there because, Harry and Marv are in jail. Anyway, Kevin's chilling up in the room, and he has this, little talk thing, or talk. It has, a little talk thing that he can, say words into it, and it comes out. It's basically like a 90s recording. I don't know. Anyway, so they're having this, play Christmas thing where they have to sing, and for some reason people start making fun of Kevin for his solo, so he absolutely karate chops Buzz again like he did last year. Anyway, once again, and since Kevin is a little jerk, he gets in trouble. So anyway, the same thing, actually, there's no storm this night, but a poster does roll up onto the door that says Wet Bandits Escape Prison. Uh-oh. Yeah, if you didn't know, Harry and Marv call themselves the Wet Bandits. Anyway, so they think they're late again, but not because of a storm, because the other night the dad unplugged the clock to plug something else in, and this made the time say 12 o'clock. So basically the same thing, but not the same thing, whatever. But they don't forget Kevin this time. But when they're running in the airport, Kevin stops because he wants to put batteries in his little thing, and there's a guy that's wearing the same clothes and has the same haircut as his dad, and Kevin starts to follow him instead. So his family runs to go to Florida, and then Kevin follows this guy to go to New York. And once again, they realize they forgot Kevin. What a great mom. Anyway, once Kevin realizes he's in New York, he starts to do exactly what he did in the last movie when he realized he was alone. He just starts partying. And yeah, remember the poster earlier that says Harry and Marv escaped? Well, yeah, it turns out they also went to New York, and they're hiding in a fish van. Must smell great in there. Anyway, remember how in the last movie Kevin was afraid of the old guy who was his neighbor? I guess he's really afraid of old people because he sees this weird-looking pigeon lady in the park. I mean, come on, I would be scared of that too. Anyway, Kevin goes to the... Oh my god, there he is! Sorry, anyway, Kevin goes to the Plaza Hotel. And we meet these workers who, obviously are suspicious of this 10-year-old kid checking into the hotel. Hey, look, it's the Grinch. Anyway, Kevin uses his dad's credit card, which that's how they end up finding him later. And he just starts living the life. And he watches the second version of the movie he watched last time, which is even more violent. And the next morning, he's living even a better life. He has a limousine and a cheese pizza. Maybe I should go to the Plaza Hotel. Anyway, Harry and Marv are at the skate park, and Harry starts abusing the poor pigeons. They didn't do anything. And they're making up a plan to rob the store, Duncan's Toy Chest, and of course it turns out Kevin's going there too. Because it seems like everywhere Kevin goes, these two guys will be there too. Or maybe everywhere they go. Maybe everywhere... I don't know. Either Kevin's hunting them or they're hunting Kevin. Anyway, at the toy store, Harry and Marv are hiding in these houses, and I mean, that would look real suspicious. Two grown men in a kid's toy store hiding in little houses. Anyway, then we meet this guy who he's not supposed to be Mr. Duncan, but he is, because he likes to hide his identity. And originally I thought he was a bad guy because of the way he acts, but he's not. He's a really nice guy. And apparently him and the pigeon lady are supposed to be like husband and wife. I don't know, they don't say it in the movie, but people are making up that theory, so maybe they are, I don't know. Anyway, that's when Harry and Marv run into their friend Kevin, and they try to just snatch him right there with 1,000 people watching. I mean, I guess it's New York. No one would do anything. Also, Kevin screams at the top of his lungs, and once again, nobody cares. Also, Kevin buys a chain and lets all the little ball things on the ground, and Harry and Marv slip on it, and once again, people just walk by like this is a normal thing. I don't know. Maybe this stuff always happens in New York. I don't live there. Anyway, so then the Grinch guy threatens to call the police because Kevin stole the credit card or whatever. But he manages to scare off the hotel staff with a very violent movie. Then he gets caught by Harry and Marv again because, I mean, he's just not having luck. And then they just straight up tell Kevin their plan of how they're going to rob the toy store, and they're also going to throw him in the lake. But Kevin's recording all of this on his talk thing or whatever it's called. Anyway, but then this lady from earlier, who I didn't show because she's not really important, Kevin grabs her butt. Yes, he actually does. And she turns around and thinks it's Marv, so then Marv gets punched. But then Kevin says it was Harry, so then Harry gets punched. And then Kevin manages to go hide in like a little horse wagon. Why do I keep saying... Okay, I'm so sorry for saying everything wrong. Anyway, yeah, so then Kevin manages to hide, so Harry and Marv just leave. So then the police finally locate Kevin, and, they tell him that they're in New York. Then Kevin goes to the park and screams at the pigeon lady, but then he realizes that she's actually pretty nice. Yeah, it's the same thing as the last movie. So then they talk for, forever. Seriously, this goes on for a really long time. Anyway, after they're done talking, Kevin's walking around and he sees one of the kids up in the children's hospital, and he feels bad because Marv and Harry are going to rob Duncan's toy chest, and all the money in there is going to go to the children's hospital. So Kevin needs to save the day again. So then he does the exact same thing, and he sets up all these death traps that are even worse than the first one. No, seriously, these are bad. Anyway, after Harry and Marv die 20 times, they end up in the park, and the pigeon lady throws a bunch of birdseed on them, so then all the birds come and attack them. Then they get arrested, and this is the last time we ever see Harry and Marv in a Home Alone movie. Anyway, then Kevin's mom finds him standing at the big tree or whatever, and then it's all happy, happy, happy. This time it is. This is the last time we see Kevin's family ever again. Now, a long time ago, I used to think that Home Alone 2 was better than the first one, but now rewatching it again, I mean, it's still amazing, but I don't think it's as good as the first one. But I'm still going to put it in S tier right by the first one, because they're both amazing. But, oh boy, now let's move on to Home Alone 3. Okay, now interestingly, this movie was made by the same guy who wrote the first two, so it still has a chance to be good. Well, let's find out. So this movie starts off with four Korean spy agents. Yeah, we went from two burglars to like literal spy agents trying to get a chip to North Korea. I don't know. How do we go from that? Come on. Anyway, so these four guys have this bag with this chip in it or whatever. And then there's also this old lady at the store, and she takes the bag on accident with the chip in it. So, like, it gets mixed up. So now she has the chip, and they need it back. So the chip ends up with this kid named Alex, who, I'm sorry, but this kid just isn't the same as Kevin. Like, this kid, like, I could tell they were trying to make him have, like, a Kevin personality, but he's not. Also, this kid doesn't have a big family. He has one brother and one sister who all treat him like garbage. Anyways, this Alex kid finds out that he has chicken pox and why would you even say that? Also, I don't want this video to be too long, so the last yes, we have four more movies, jeez. The last four movies I'm going to try to do real quick, so here we go, because they're all really bad. Anyway, and since Alex has chicken pox, he has to stay home, and every once in a while his mom goes to work, and his dad leaves, and his siblings are at school, so he's not even home alone for the entire movie. Just some parts, and then at the end he's alone for like a while. I don't know, he's not even home alone the whole movie, so they kind of lied to us. Anyway, so the spy agent guys make it to Chicago because that's where this movie takes place, just like the first one and the second one. Anyway, so then they end up in Chicago and they're trying to find the chip. So they decide to break into every house, but they disguise themselves as just normal people. But Alex is smart, so he notices this. So he starts trolling them with this remote control car and just starts causing mayhem. Anyway, so they realize Alex has the chip or whatever it is, so they decide to break into his house while his mom's gone. So just like Kevin, he sets up a bunch of traps. And I mean, some of these are worse than the other ones. Bro, what's wrong with this movie? Why are they so weird? Anyway, after that, they all get arrested, and then Alex's mom comes back or whatever from work or whatever, and happy ending, and yeah, whatever. I mean, Home Alone 3, it's not bad, but it's not that good either. I mean, I guess I'm gonna, I'll put it in B tier. I mean, it's not, it's like, I don't know, it's just, some of the scenes are pretty weird, like with the, it's kind of has like not toilet humor, kind of just a lot of stuff with Winkies and whatever. Anyway, so but yeah, it's gonna go in B tier. I think that's pretty good. But oh boy, now let's move on to Home Alone 4: Taking Back the House. So yeah, it turns out this movie's just free on YouTube TV, so that's good. I don't have to go on and find videos where it's like zooming in and out. So yeah, we can just watch it. It turns out the next one we're looking at is also free, so that's good. But what isn't good is this movie. I mean, this is... Alright, try to just listen. So, in this movie, instead of it supposed to be being another family, it's supposed to be the McAllister family again? Like, no, this isn't a reboot. Like, they're trying to say, like, it's completely different actors, but they all have the same name. Like, this is supposed to be Kevin. And this is supposed to be his mom. And instead of having a bunch of brother and sisters, he just has one brother and one sister, and they're just, one is Buzz, and then the other girl is one of his sisters or whatever. Like, they're just trying to take all the same characters and recreate them. Like, they don't even look the same. Also, most of the movie, Kevin's not even alone. Also, I don't like calling him Kevin because it's not even Kevin. Anyway, so it turns out him and the mom and the dad are like breaking up or something, and the dad has a new girlfriend. I mean, to be honest, I'd break up with her too for losing my kid twice. Also, Marv is back and he has his girlfriend with him, but the problem is Marv, he looks like Harry now. Like, this is supposed to be Marv, but they made him look like Harry. Like, come on, they couldn't even get that right? Also, Marv's mom is here for some reason. I don't know why I don't know why she needs to be here. Anyway, so I guess the dad's new girlfriend has this gigantic house with a butler and Marv's mom. For some reason, I really don't know why she's even here. Anyway, so then Kevin, if you want to call him that, sees Marv, I guess, and I mean, Marv is just so stupid now. Like, he literally gets stuck in the fence. Like, bro, he can't even walk through a fence. Anyway, Kevin recognizes Marv somehow, even though he looks like Harry. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry, but Kevin's not even defending the house anymore. He's just being a jerk off, and he floods the whole house to scare off Marv and his girlfriend. It's funny that this movie's called Taking Back the House when he's not even taking anything back. He's just messing the house up. Anyway, Kevin gets in trouble for flooding the house, which I guess this makes sense because in the first movie and the second one, Kevin kept getting in trouble. So I guess this is kind of like, I don't know. Anyway, so he gets in trouble for flooding the house. Then for the next 20 minutes of the movie, we're just talking and just doing nothing. Like, it's boring. Wow, what a great family. Anyway, after a whole half hour of blah, 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 Kevin and the butler guy get stuck down in the basement or whatever the heck that place is. But Kevin manages to get out, and then we get to the big part of the movie where the bad guys get beat up, but these traps aren't even that good, and there's barely any of them. Anyway, so then Kevin just straight up kills them. No, seriously, I thought they were dead at first. But if this is really supposed to be Marv, how come he's acting like he's dead from falling off a lampshade when in the second movie he survived getting electrocuted and falling off a third-story building, and this is making him act dead? So anyway, yeah, then Marv's mom almost kills Kevin, then the butler guy knocks her out, and whatever, I don't know. Then they get arrested, and then Kevin's parents get back together, and oh my god, the movie's over. Thank you. Terrible, but not the worst. You're going in D tier. No, not C tier. You're going in D tier. And the reason I'm putting you in D tier is, well, you'll see soon. So let's move on to Home Alone 5 or Home Alone The Holiday Heist. And once again, this movie's free with ads too. So in this movie, we have new people again. And I'm sorry, but this is basically just seems like a modern version of the first one because they have video games and stuff. And especially in this movie, the kid in this movie plays video games for half of the movie. I'm sorry. And his sister is just on her phone all the time. Anyways, this family's moving into a new house, and for some reason, the kid thinks there's ghosts in the house. I don't know. Then he almost kills his dad because he thinks he's a ghost. Anyway, so the burglars in this movie, I guess in this house there's some painting in the basement, and I think did I just get an ad? Oh no, okay, anyway. And in this movie, the burglars, I guess there's a painting in the basement that they want or something, but then this family moved in, they messed it up, so now they really want the painting and stuff, so they're gonna break into the house. And just like the last movie, the kids aren't even home alone for the first 30 minutes of the movie. It's just nothing but blah, 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 blah. Also, eventually when they do get left home alone, I'm going to be honest, they look old enough to be, I'm going to assume that they're 12 and 13. They're pretty much old enough to be home alone. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, but this movie, I don't understand anything in this movie. I'm having a real hard time explaining it. So anyway, I guess the kid's talking to some grown man, online or something, and then the man tries to, call his parents to let him know that there's people breaking in, but it doesn't go well, and he gets squatted and stuff. It's a whole thing. Also, when the traps come in, another thing is this one has a lot of butt stuff, too. The third one had it with the winky stuff. The fourth one kind of had it, and the fifth one, in this scene, it has it a lot. Anyway, of course they don't get their painting and they get arrested. Ha ha ha, the end. D tier. You're going in D tier. I'm sorry. Now, at first, I thought this was the worst Home Alone movie until I watched the last one, Home Sweet Home Alone. This is the worst movie I've ever seen. I'm sorry. So in this movie, we have a kid named Max, and there's this other family that he steals a doll from and brings it to his house. Then when he gets left home alone, the guy and the lady, and since they're, a sad, poor family, they want the doll back, so they try to break in, and then the kid destroys them because they want their doll back. And that's basically the premise of the movie. No, seriously, the kid is the villain here. What? Listen, this should not have been a Home Alone movie. I feel like you could have done the same idea, but have it, in another kind of movie. This is terrible. I'm not, I'm done. I'm not even going to explain it, because half the time, I couldn't understand what was going on. This movie is the worst Home Alone movie, so that means Home Alone, or I guess Home Sweet Home Alone, is going... No, come here. You can't escape. Home Sweet Home Alone goes in F tier. It's the worst Home Alone movie. It's worse than these two somehow. Man, I'm finally done. So yeah, that's my tier list of Home Alone. In S tier, we got Home Alone 1 and 2. In B tier, we got Home Alone 3. In D tier, we got Home Alone 4 and 5. And in F tier, we got Home Sweet Home Alone, which is not just the worst Home Alone movie, it's the worst movie I probably watched, because I wanted to turn it off with, in the first 10 minutes. But I also didn't want to do it with the fifth one. So yeah, you better like that video, because I just watched every Home Alone movie. I'll see you all in the next video. Merry Christmas. Ugh.